Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to the FCS Football Channel. Today we are going through what I believe to be Manchester United's starting 11, our best starting 11. Look, Manchester United have a great squad full of fantastic players, and this list isn't going to be, this starting 11 isn't going to be easy for me to pick. However, look, these are just my opinions. Obviously, you guys can let me know yours down below. I'll be going through and telling you guys what my considerations were, why I believe these players make up our best 11, and just trying to explain why I believe the things I do and why this is my starting 11. So first up, we must talk goalkeepers, and of course we have two main contenders, that being David De Gea and Dean Henderson. Now, both are fantastic goalkeepers. I do believe Manchester United should be looking to sell one, although at this point in the window, that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Who would I be starting for Manchester United there? And I think people who've watched this channel for a while will know who I'm going for. I'm going for David De Gea. Then moving on to the back four. Wan-Bissaka, of course, starts at right back. He's our best right back. I do think Diogo Dalot is a good right back. He's not as good as Wan-Bissaka, is he? I think Dalot should be our backup right back this season. I think talks of getting a Kieran Trippier are ridiculous. Wan-Bissaka is fantastic. Dalot is a very good backup. Play them two. I think Wan-Bissaka, he has that right hand side on lockdown. Something that he's never had is a partner on that right wing. I think this season he will have a partner, and we'll get to that when we get to right wing. But I think partnerships in football are massive. We talk about how good Luke Shaw and Rashford are together. We talk about how good how bad Maguire and Lindelof are together. But we kind of ignore the right-hand side and the fact that Wan-Bissaka never has had a partner. Wan-Bissaka has always had the players around him constantly change. I mean, everyone wants Lindelof out, and he's on the right side of the back four when it comes to centre-back. The DMs, is it McTominay? Is it Fred? Is it Pogba? Is it Matic? Is it Van der Beek? That always swap him. Right wing, Greenwood. We had Dan James. We've had Pogba play there. We've had Rashford play there. We've had Mata at times. So Wan-Bissaka's never really been able to build that relationship with a right winger. And I think this year, when we do have that right winger that will play majority of the game, like we've seen with Rashford in the past, we will start seeing even more from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and that is a scary proposition because he is fantastic. Going to centre-half, I think we know who's playing on the left-hand side of that centre-back pairing. It is Harry Maguire. What a player. He's been fantastic for us since signing a few dips here and there in form, but overall he's been a very, very good signing for Manchester United. £80 million, while it is undoubtedly an overspend, he's our captain. He's a rock. And Slabhead, he's going to play every minute of every game like he has the last 2 seasons. He's only going to Solskjaer's star signing. £80 million. He's never going to drop him. Bearing in mind as well, he's our captain. Harry Maguire will always play, and he makes it into my team. Alongside our new centre-back signing, Raphael Varane. Varane is, to me, the perfect partner for Harry Maguire. Has got pace to burn. Like we've said so often, Lindelof and Maguire don't work because Lindelof does not have the recovery pace, and we've applauded Eric Bailly for having that recovery pace, allowing us to play a higher line. Varane has that. He's a better defender than Lindelof, better defender than Bailly, brilliant in the air, Varane, and to me, he's a better centre-back than Maguire. And Maguire was already fantastic. Like, I would put Maguire in the top 4 centre-backs in the Premier League. I would put Varane in the top 3. I think if you look at the best centre-backs in the Premier League, you've got Varane, you've got Diaz, you've got Maguire, you've got Van Dijk. I think Laporte is probably in there as well. We've got... In that top 5, we've got 2 of them. I mean, Man City have 2 of them as well. But that centre-back partnership is fantastic. And I think that centre-back partnership will, one, relieve pressure on David De Gea or Dean Henderson, whichever one is in goal. I've obviously gone for David De Gea. Will allow us to play a higher line, which in turn will improve the attack, improve the midfield, will improve everywhere. And will give us a platform to try and go win Premier League titles, or at least cups. That is a fantastic back line. I really, really do believe Varane solidifies what is a top defence. Obviously with Luke Shaw on the left-hand side. Luke Shaw, best left back in the world last season. Brilliant European Championships. And I'm expecting more of the same. Luke Shaw is a fantastic defender. He's improving his game going forward every single week. He's elite. He really is elite. And I'm looking forward to seeing more and more and more of Luke Shaw. Because, like I keep saying, he is elite. He is fantastic. He goes in at left back. No questions really asked. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Obviously, in the pivot, first player I'm putting, Paul Pogba. Is there much more that needs to be said? He is world class. We saw against Leeds, while he didn't play in the pivot, what he can do. He is devastating. His passing range is unbelievable. We've seen for France how well he can play. If we can get a proper defensive midfielder next to Paul Pogba, we can win Premier League titles. Because Paul Pogba takes Manchester United levels up. I've said so often, with players like Bruno Fernandez, they raise the floor. Pogba raises the ceiling. That's how I see it. I think Paul Pogba makes this team for being able to be, let's say, at a max, an 88 out of 100. Paul Pogba raises it to 100 out of 100. Bruno Fernandez raises your current level from, let's say, an 80 to a 90. If that makes sense. So, Pogba raises the potential of this squad. And he's fantastic. He's just world class, isn't he? If we can get Paul Pogba playing alongside a proper defensive midfielder, like we've seen for France, like we've seen at times for Manchester United, you think back to when Ollie first got the job after lockdown. He was sensational. We get more of that from Paul Pogba. We look an unstoppable force. Next to Paul Pogba, I've got that defensive midfielder in Nemanja Matic. In pre-season, he looked fantastic alongside Donny van der Beek. Put him alongside Paul Pogba. Try and get that partnership from after lockdown back. And let's see how they get on. I think Nemanja Matic's only problem is he can't play every single game. He doesn't have the legs anymore to play every single game, which is an issue. And I do think we do need to sign a defensive midfielder. And I think, look, I said in my Premier League predictions, Manchester United will regret not signing a proper defensive midfielder. And look, we'll have to wait and see if that comes to fruition. I really hope we do sign a defensive midfielder though, because playing Pogba in that pivot next to a proper defensive midfielder, we are fantastic. And it allows us to get more of our attacking talent into that front line, which is where we'll go next. Obviously, at 10, straight away, Bruno Fernandez. He's been sensational. A hat-trick against Leeds opening day. He's going to be up there with goals and assists like he was last season. He's sensational, Bruno Fernandez. He makes every team in the Premier League for me. Every team, and probably in world football. He is that good. He is sensational. Our number 18, our Portuguese Magnifico, Bruno Fernandez. Now, who is there really to compete with him? No one. Mata doesn't compete. Van der Beek doesn't compete. Who else do you have? Andreas? Jesse Lingard? They don't compete with this lad. Bruno Fernandez is world class, and I won't have it any other way. He is absolutely world class. Does he make some mistakes? Sure, but so does everyone. He is fantastic, and with Bruno Fernandez in our team, we are much, much, much better than we are without him. Simple as that. Now on the left wing is someone, look, on this channel I have criticised a lot in the past. I'm going for Marcus Rashford. He's been playing with an injury last season, and I think that is part of the frustration with Marcus Rashford. Rashford, look, he's a great player, but you're not bigger than the team. You're not vital, as we saw against Leeds. We didn't miss Rashford. We don't miss Rashford. And we know how good Marcus Rashford can be. I don't think he's at the level as a lot of people put him on, but he is fantastic. And Marcus Rashford fully fit, with Luke Shaw bombing down the side of him, with Bruno at 10, Pogba, Matic and DM, with who I would put on the right and the left, can score goals, will score goals, and is a world-class player on his day. I think he is fantastic, Marcus Rashford, when fully fit, when playing at his very, very best. Let's hope we can see that when he returns from injury after all his surgery, because a fully fit and fully on fire Marcus Rashford is dangerous for any team. On the right, I'm going for Jadon Sancho. What more can you say about this lad? £72 million spent on him. He lit it up for Dortmund. He was fantastic when he played it during the Euros. He's a creator. He can score goals. He can beat his man. He can do everything. He can do everything with a football, and that is what makes him so useful for Manchester United. He can play off the left. He can play off the right. And I think on the right, he will give Wan-Bissaka that partner which he's been longing for. I think, look, with Greenwood out on the right, while Greenwood is fantastic, he's a player like Rashford who looks to score goals. With Sancho, you have a player that looks to create, and that is so important. I think this front line is what we've been longing for since the start of last season, really. We all thought Jadon Sancho was coming then, and we'd have a front three of Rashford, Bruno, Sancho, behind a striker, and we'll get to the striker. We are finally going to see it, and we're going to see this front line, I think, for me, explode with goals and talent and chances. I think that's what you get when you have creators. You get more chances for your number 9, who is going to be Anthony Martial. And when you have Anthony Martial in the box, we know he had a bad season last year, but he is a clinical finisher. His finishing is fantastic. That's why he's called ice. He's ice cold, ice in the veins. He had a bad season last year for sure, but Anthony Martial, given the chances, he will put the ball in the back of the net. And what else I believe Anthony Martial brings, while he might not be a better finisher than Greenwood, his hold-up play and his creativity is miles clear of Mason Greenwood. And I think Mason Greenwood is a top striker. But I think when you have Bruno, you have Rashford, and you have Sancho, all three, especially with Bruno and Rashford, who looks to break into the box and score goals themselves, you want someone who, while he will score, you want someone who has great hold-up play, and you want someone that will provide a little bit more than what I believe Greenwood would. And I think Martial is very, very adept to doing that. I've said it before, I believe Martial could play as a number 10. He's that good on the ball. I think his build-up play and link-up play is fantastic. Dribbling, fantastic. He knows when to pass it, knows when to keep hold of it, knows when to shoot. He's world-class, Anthony Martial, for me. So for me, Anthony Martial would be going up top. Like I said, can score goals, can provide. His hold-up play is magnificent. Can bring people into the game so well. Anthony Martial, for me, makes us a better team. And with having Anthony Martial starting, you have players like Edison Cavani and Mason Greenwood coming on off the bench to make a difference. I think that is scary. Really, really scary. If Martial isn't performing very well, to be able to go, Mason, Edison, get on the pitch, mate. That is scary for teams. So I would be playing Anthony Martial up top. Now, obviously, at the moment, Marcus Rashford is injured. So what team would I be playing while Marcus Rashford is out? Well, there's two. Obviously, we are moving Pogba from central midfield onto the left wing, where we saw him play against Leeds. I thought he was fantastic against Leeds. And there's two pivots now I believe we could play. And the first one is the one we played against Leeds. It's McFred. Now, look, I've been a big critic of McFred. However, I've been giving it a little think through. And I think, you know what? While they might not be the best in the ball, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer deserves credit for what he's doing with Pogba and McFred. We know that Paul Pogba is a player that needs creative freedom, needs players around him to do the work kind of for him. Who's better to do that for Manchester United than McFred? Who? Like, give credit where credit is due to Ole. We know, we've said so often, said with players like Mesut Ozil at Arsenal, that Paul Pogba isn't a player that is going to do, that are going to be a half grafter. You want players around him that will do that for him. And you get Pogba on the ball, and when he's on the ball, that's where you're going to see his magic. So, in this 4-2-3-1, you can't have Pogba in the pivot because he's not going to do that hard work. So you put a McFred there who will do the work. And then in front of him, you're not going to put Bruno, you're not going to drop Bruno for Pogba. So you put Pogba on the left. You're going to give him license to roam, knowing you have McTominay and Fred behind him that are going to sweep up for him every single time and going to do the hard work, going to do the hard miles for Paul Pogba, while Pogba is given license to drift and to create. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer deserves a lot of credit for the way he has built this team with Pogba on the left and McFred. And while I keep saying McFred as a pivot, maybe not the most desirable, they do the job and they work so effortlessly to give Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandez the platform to go and score 5 goals against Leeds. So McFred, as much as me and everyone else have criticised him in the past, is my first choice because I do think they offer a lot to Paul Pogba and allowing Paul Pogba to be so creative and to be so expressive with his talent. My second pivot is Donny van de Beek and Matic, and this is the pivot that really got me thinking about the McFred one. I think during pre-season when we played Everton, these two played and they were fantastic. But in that game, we didn't have Paul Pogba on the left. We had, I believe it was Dan James and Greenwood, and we had Martial at number 9. And I wonder, with Dan James coming up for Paul Pogba, would Paul Pogba get that license to drift? Because Donny van de Beek is a player that would like to get a little bit more forward. He's not a player like a Fred and McTominay that will just just run around. A Van de Beek and a Matic, for me, playing alongside of Bruno seems and feels a lot more like a 4-3-3. When Matic can sit, Donny van de Beek will be up and down a little bit more in that box-to-box role, while Bruno Fernandez is playing that as a 10 or has the more license to properly get forward and attack. And I don't really feel like with a Paul Pogba playing on the left, you can play that. Because I feel like Paul Pogba will want to come inside and you have a Matic who is more wanting to sit than to press a lot more like a McFred does. I'm probably not explaining it very well, but I think with Pogba on the left, you need to have energy in that midfield. You need to have people that are running around 24/7, getting into every tackle, constantly closing people down, which I don't think really is a pivot of Matic and Van de Beek. I think that pivot is a lot more, like I said, suited to maybe a 4-3-3 with Bruno, Van de Beek and Pogba. So while I think, look, this pivot could work, I'm not saying it definitely won't. I have my concerns over it with Paul Pogba playing on the left wing, which is why I think McFred is actually a bit of a smart partnership, and so I do respect, and I think we do have to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a bit of credit for putting together. Anyway, that is going to be it from me today. If you have enjoyed, please do hit the like button below. Subscribe if you are new and you haven't already. And let me know down below who you would have in your best Manchester United starting 11 and why. Anyway, like I said, thank you all for watching. Down in the description, you'll find links to my Instagram, Twitter, and my Premier League fantasy football, alongside my other channel. If you want to go over there and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Like I said, thank you all for watching. And I'll see you all in the next one in a bit. Peace.